What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Saffel, back again with another WrestleMania review, and for today I will be reviewing WrestleMania III. This took place at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, and pretty much in Vince's head going into the show, he wanted to find the biggest venue possible. What could be the biggest arena he could find in America, because he wanted to have the indoor attendance record. He wanted to set something big for this show. And he decided to go to Pontiac, Michigan, near Detroit, for the Pontiac Silverdome, and it became a rousing success, I'd say, because WrestleMania III was quite a spectacular show. So maybe not quality-wise, but just from the spectacle and all of it, it definitely makes up. So we kick things off with Vince McMahon welcoming the fans to WrestleMania 3, and Aretha Franklin singing a wonderful version of America the Beautiful. She knocked it right out of the park. And I remember the True Story of WrestleMania documentary. Vince was remembering when he was in the ring, he couldn't think of anybody but his dad. And when he was in the ring, and like he was trying not to get choked up and all that during the show. And even the ring announcer Howard Finkel said to himself that he said wow like 100 times that day, and he saw people like tailgating outside of the Silverdome, and he thought it was only for football basically. But our commentators tonight are Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura, with special guests, longtime Entertainment Tonight host Mary Hart, and Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker, who would show up at next year's WrestleMania. But they were used pretty much like a lot throughout the night, because they were basically the only celebrities they really used. They didn't throw a bunch of celebrities for like they did for WrestleMania 2. They kept it to just 2 or 3 people, which I didn't mind, honestly. It's nice to see them tone down on that. We've got 12 matches on this show, so shit, let's get right into it. We kick things off with the Can-Am Connection taking on Cowboy Bob Orton and the Magnificent Muraco. They're a very energetic babyface team, and they hit loads of double team moves throughout the match. Orton was holding Zank's arm back, but moves, and Muraco hits Orton. We saw a ton of those spots in this show where like someone will hold, like in tag team matches especially, or when managers get involved, where the illegal guy will hold the legal opponent, and then their tag partner will run at the opponent. The other guy will jump out of the way and he'll accidentally hit him. We saw a bunch of those tonight. So Martel hits a flying running crossbody when Muraco falls over Zank to get the win. And yeah, so alright match, I guess. Good way to start off the show. Can-Am Connection were very energetic and a great babyface team to start things off. So yeah, nothing to really complain about. After that, we got Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules, with Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner. And the whole build-up to this was Bobby Heenan kept claiming that Hercules was a true master of the full Nelson lock, and Hercules attacked Billy Jack on Superstars of Wrestling, which kind of led up to the match. And by the way, this was the show when the wrestlers would make their entrances, they'd be in those little ring carts that would take them to the ring. I fucking love those. I don't care if they're cheesy as hell. It's wrestling. Seeing the guys in the little ring, I thought were great, in my opinion. So both of these men are in incredible shape. Hercules went for the pin, broke up himself at 2, and he was trying to put the full Nelson on the entire match, but didn't really end up doing it in the match, which is for Billy Jack Haynes. And he did manage near the end to lock it in on the outside, but unfortunately, yeah, it was on the outside, and they went to a double count out, and so Billy Jack is pissed at Bobby Heenan for some reason, tries to chase him around, but then Hercules grabs his chain that he wraps around his neck when he walks to the ring, grabs that, and just hits him from behind with his chain, hits him in the head with it, busts him open. Billy Jack did a good blade job, and then he locks in the full Nelson on him, and basically leaves the ring. Just about in like half of these matches, there would be some sort of post-match beatdown. It was very weird. After that, oh no, we get to King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook versus Hillbilly Jim, the Haiti Kid, and Little Beaver. what a terrible name for a midget wrestler, Little Beaver. This was arse. This match was complete arse. The minis were basically acting like children, which is a shame considering this was basically the closest WWF had to a cruiserweight division at the time. And the match ends with Bundy hitting an elbow on Little Beaver and getting disqualified. And he was about to splash him, and he's like, I'm going to splash this little prick. But the midgets move him out of the way, and Hillbilly throws him out of the ring. So, yeah, what a fucking fantastic match that was. Not. So, next match was the Loser Must Bow match between the King, Harley Race with a fabulous Moolah, and Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner, taking on the Junkyard Dog. Build up for this was Harley Race had just won the 1986 King of the Ring tournament, and he started declaring himself, as the king of professional wrestling. And anytime he'd win a match, he'd make his opponents like bow and kneel to him, with the assist of Bobby Heenan, of course. And basically, Junkyard Dog didn't really agree with Race's beliefs of being the ruler of WWF, which kind of set up this match. And Heenan was grabbing JYD's leg, and then he chased after him, and he hit a big headbutt on Harley, but then he tries to headbutt him back on the outside. Heenan distracts Junkyard Dog for Harley to hit a belly-to-belly to get the win, despite Junkyard kicking out like right after 3. Like the second he went for the 3 count, like 1 second later he kicked out. And then JYD basically bows for Race because the loser had to bow to the King. But then he grabs the chair that Harley was sitting on and just smacks him with it. Takes his robe with him to the back. And that was basically the end of that. Alright, I guess. Bit of a fun match. Junkyard Dog was such a charming character. Great babyface. And Harley Race is just one of the... It was weird seeing him as the King. It was like a King gimmick. I've always seen Harley Race as that really rough, no bullshit type of a wrestler in the NWA, but oh well. We'll move on to another tag team match, the Dream Team. So Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, with Luscious, Johnny Valiant, and Dino Bravo in their corner, taking on the Rougeau brothers, the All-American Boys. That's a fantastic theme song, by the way. I didn't think they had it on this show, but it was very similar to the Can-Am match. The Rougeaus were working really well together, hit a lot of tag team maneuvers on their opponents, and Heenan actually got into the commentary box and kept bragging about being 2 for 2, and the Rougeaus hit their bear hug hold, seated senton combo move that they do on Valentine on the outside. But when the ref is turned away, Dino Bravo pulls Valentine over Jacques Rougeau to win the match. However, Brutus Beefcake is basically left high and dry, and he isn't exactly thrilled with the victory, as the rest of the Dream Team basically go into the little ring carts and fuck off. So this wouldn't be the last time we see Brutus Beefcake in the night, because we will see him in the hair versus hair match between Rowdy Roddy Piper and adorable Adrian Adonis, with Jimmy Hart in his corner. And Roddy Piper returned from a little bit of an absence in 1986, and he had turned babyface. And his talk show, Piper's Pit, was replaced by adorable Adrian Adonis's Flower Shop show. And he spent weeks like crashing the show, which led to a big showdown between the two. Both shows, that is, which led to Piper being assaulted by Adonis, his former friend Bob Orton, and Muraco, and they covered his face in lipstick, and they destroyed Piper's Pit set. But then Piper returned the favor in the following weeks by destroying the set of the Flower Shop with a baseball bat, going completely ballistic, which sets up this match, which is meant to be Piper's retirement match, which was a load of shit. And we started off with Piper using like a leather belt on Adonis, but then Adonis took it and used it on him, and Piper hit a double noggin knocker on Adonis and Jimmy Hart, and then Hart sprayed something in Piper's face, like some sort of perfume or some shit like that, and then Adonis locks in a sleeper hold, and the ref goes to lift his arm once, twice, but before he can drop it for the third time, Piper doesn't drop it, even though Adonis is celebrating with Jimmy Hart. And then Brutus Beefcake runs in and helps Piper up to his feet, like holds him up a little bit. He locks in the sleeper hold and he wins the match. And then Brutus Beefcake grabs the clippers, the giant shears from Adrian Adonis, and got the shaving stuff for his head, like some clippers and all that, and gave him a really bad haircut. So I guess this was where the barber gimmick for Brutus Beefcake was born at WrestleMania 3. I never knew that. It was nice to know, as that is his most famous gimmick. Piper then grabs a mirror so Adonis can see his terrible haircut, and he is like, "You son of a bitch," runs at him and gets thrown out of the ring. And this is meant to be Roddy Piper's farewell match, and he was gone for like about 2.5 years, something like that, to film a few movies like Hell Comes to Frogtown, classic movie that is, and They Live, which is like a social commentary sci-fi action movie where he uttered the infamous line, "I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." What a great line that is. Moving on from that, we have a 6-man tag team action. The British Bulldogs and Tito Santana Arriba taking on the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis, who was like a crooked referee, kept screwing over the British Bulldogs in their matches, basically, and now he's teamed up with the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Hart being in their corner. And Bulldogs come out with Matilda the Bulldog, and the dog goes right after Jimmy Hart, and this selling of the dog attacking him was great. And Davey Boy hit a really good tombstone and a suplex on Davis. And by the way, Davis's selling was just fantastic. And then all 6 men have a bit of a schmoz in the ring, and Davis hits Davey Boy with Jimmy Hart's megaphone while the ref isn't seeing to get the win in a fun, fast-paced match. So, yeah, basically all the heels won with some sort of dirty, underhanded tactic, which kind of makes sense because, you know, they're heels, but, you know, it kind of got a bit tiring after a while, but it's not too much to complain about, I guess. So, after that, we had, what an exciting matchup this was. Coco Beware versus the Natural Butch Reed with Slick in his corner. And yeah, it was about as interesting as watching elderly people play bingo, honestly. Coco hit a high crossbody, but Butch rolls him up, holding his tights to get the win. And then Tito Santana came out to pull Slick away from Coco after he was beating him up a little bit, and was basically trying to rip his shirt off before Slick runs away. So yeah, pretty boring match, to be honest with you, and yeah, nothing special about it at all. But what is special, though, is this next match. For the Intercontinental Championship, Randy Macho Man Savage, with Miss Elizabeth in his corner, taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with George the Animal Steel in their corner, and these 2 men put on one of the most classic matches, not just in WrestleMania history, but in all of WWE, WWF, or just wrestling in general. And the build-up was, the build-up to all these matches were pretty short and simple. Savage went after Steamboat's neck and was injured his larynx using the ring bell. Resulted in them feuding for several months, coming ahead in this match. And the 2 cut some great promos before they came out to the ring. Macho Man pretty much said history beckons him tonight and all that. Ricky Steamboat's promo was really fucking good as well. It's one of my favorites, actually. And he talks about how we've reached our moment and we will clash like 2 titans. This dragon will scorch the back of Savage and reach new horizons. It was really awesome to see. And this match is just fucking incredible. It's one of those matches, I've seen this match plenty of times, and I never get tired of it because it's that fucking good. Steamboat hits some great looking arm drags, and he has that classic shot of picking up Macho Man by his like shoulders or his neck or whatever. And Savage aims for the neck of Steamboat throughout the match because, you know, that's where the injury is. He gets tied up in the ropes, and then Steamboat goes after him. He pulls himself back into the ring after getting thrown out, but then Savage throws him out again. They were fighting a lot on the outside in this match as well. Savage hit a running knee to the back of Steamboat, and he basically just flies over the barricade and into the crowd, which was cool. So Steamboat basically flips Savage over the top rope and hits a karate shot from the top. And then he goes for the pin. By the way, there were a lot of false finishes in this match. But then Savage put his foot on the rope. Steamboat just kept going with the pins in this match, which I liked because that's the point of a match, to get pinfalls. But then again, you could look on the other hand and kind of say, well, wouldn't you want to wear them out to get a good pinfall? But you know what? These two were so evenly matched that you couldn't really blame Ricky Steamboat for continuously wanting to pin Macho Man. So both men try to roll each other up, but they kick out every time. There was, amazing false finishes in this match. Steamboat gets inadvertently rammed into the referee, and then Macho Man hits the top rope elbow, but the referee is still out. And so Randy Savage tries to do some underhanded tactics and grabs the ring bell, and he's going to do the exact same thing he did to Steamboat on Saturday night's main event. But then George the Animal Steel grabs the ring bell from Randy Savage, and he's like, oh, what the hell are you doing? Grabs it back, but then George Steele pushes him off of the top, and Savage goes to body slam Steamboat, but he ends up rolling him up for him to win the Intercontinental title. An absolute classic matchup. One of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. When people talk about, what are some of the greatest WrestleMania moments in history, or what are some of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, almost everyone will mention this match, along with a few others that we will talk about later on down the road in next reviews. So, I can't praise this match any higher. If you haven't seen this match, can you even call yourself a wrestling fan? Watch it. Watch it right now. You won't be disappointed at all. Just everything from the selling to Ricky Steamboat's, being a great babyface. Everyone's playing their characters right. With Randy Savage doing all the underhanded tactics. Like, it was just so well done. And not only that, they told us such a great story in the ring. Amazing. After that, Jake the Snake Roberts took on the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart in his corner. And in Jake the Snake's Robert corner was Alice Cooper, shock rocker himself. And Alice Cooper, he's the shit, man. He's so cool. He is skinny as fuck compared to the other wrestlers in this. Like, he was like Ethiopian child levels of skinniness. So Jake Roberts, in the build-up for this match, was attacked by Honky Tonk Man during his little talk show segment, The Snake Pit, where Honky Tonk grabbed his guitar and just basically smacked him with it, legit, and ended up legit injuring Jake's neck for a bit, which kind of turned Jake Roberts into a babyface because he was a heel during the first time as the Snake character. And so he goes right after Honky Tonk Man as soon as the bell rings. He doesn't even give him a chance to take off his Elvis suit. And Honky Tonk then rams Jake into the ring post, crashes him into one of the steel barricades. And Alice kept trying to help out Jake get back into the ring during the match. And then he goes for the DDT, but then Jimmy Hart grabs his leg. Honky Tonk then puts his legs on the ropes to get the pinfall victory. Jake Roberts, being obviously pissed off, grabs Honky Tonk Man's guitar and goes to smash him with it, but he ducks out of the way and ends up smashing the side of the ring post. But thankfully for Roberts, he did get his revenge, I guess, in some way. He caught Jimmy Hart, and with the help of Alice Cooper, they put the snake right in front of his face, which was really cool to see. Nice to see Jimmy Hart scared. Man, I'm not going to lie. If I was a kid around this time period, I would think Jimmy Hart was the worst person ever. Like, character-wise. Not in real life, but character-wise. Mean Gene Okerlund announces the attendance record for the Pontiac Silverdome, which is obviously 93,173 people. Apparently, they held the indoor attendance record for a long time until the 2010 NBA All-Star Games took it over. Although Dave Meltzer, Big Boy Meltz, has claimed that the numbers were inflated and was actually around 78,000. I'm not sure, man. That looks like a lot of fucking people in that building. That looked like a good 93,000 to me, but I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it was 78,000. But still, that's a lot of people, man. I don't know why you'd want to cover something up like that. We had the last tag team match of the night, which was the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Slick in his corner, taking on the Killer Bees. It was alright. It was a tag match, I guess. Hacksaw Jim Duggan ran into the ring and basically declared America was like the home and the free, and yeah, America. Sheik locked in the camel clutch on Bronzell during the end of the match. But then Jim Duggan ran in again and hit Sheik with the 2x4, and the Killer Bees lost by DQ. So yeah, that was smart of you, Jim Duggan. Really representing America by making the Americans lose. So yeah, good job, buddy. Then we get to not just any main event. We get to the main event of all main events. For the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. One of the biggest matches, if not the biggest match in the history of WWE. Like, the build-up for this as well was a long time coming. Hogan and Andre had been friends for like God knows how many years at this point. And on Piper's Pit, the president at the time, WWF president at the time, Jack Tunney, awarded Hogan a big trophy for holding the WWF title for 3 years, which was an incredible feat. While Andre got a trophy for being undefeated for 15 years. However, it was a little bit smaller than Hogan's trophy. So Andre walked off in jealousy of Hogan's bigger trophy. And a few weeks later, Andre showed up on Piper's Pit again, but with Bobby Heenan by his side. And Bobby Heenan is basically saying, he's sick and tired of you and everything that you stand for. And then Andre makes the epic challenge, I'm here for one reason, and that's to challenge you for a world championship match at the WrestleMania. And Hogan, he's baffled. He can't believe that his best friend wants to go after him for the world title. And he's like, we're friends, Andre, please. And Bobby Heenan says, you don't believe him? Maybe you'll believe this, Hogan. He then rips his shirt off and his crucifix necklace, which ends up cutting him a little bit on his chest. And just, he's in shock. He's like, how could Andre do this, man? He was my best friend. And then Roddy Piper asks, will you or will you not face Andre at WrestleMania III for the world title? And of course he says yes and all that. Bob Uecker was the special guest ring announcer for this, and Mary Hart was the guest timekeeper. The crowd for this match was absolutely electric, like no other match I've seen. Like the way Hogan and Andre just stared at each other, one of the greatest snapshots in the history of wrestling. The irresistible force meeting the immovable object. Gorilla Monsoon saying probably the best line of his entire career as a commentator. Both men shove each other, and Hogan tried to pick up Andre, but then buckles under his weight. Andre body slams Hogan, and the selling of it was just fantastic. And he was just extremely confident. This was a different Andre the Giant. He wasn't the big friendly giant that would, shake the hands of the fans and high fives and was just there for the fun and love of wrestling. No, this was a different Andre. He's under the tutelage of Bobby the Brain Heenan. He is all business. He doesn't care what the fans think about him. He just wants to win the world title and destroy Hulkamania, basically. Hogan goes to run to the corner, but hits him with the big boot. Andre then locks in a bear hug on Hogan, but he just manages to fight out of it. And then he exposes the outside padding and tried to pile drive Andre onto it, but instead gets a back body drop onto it. And then Hogan, in the ring, finally manages to knock down Andre. He hulks up, and in one of the biggest moments, maybe the biggest moment in WrestleMania history, Hulk Hogan picks up Andre and body slams him. I know his back was hurting the entire time. That fucked up his back for life. And even before the match, Hogan admitted he was scared to death going into this match against Andre because of just the amount of pressure going into a match as hyped up as this. But he managed to pull it off, man. After he body slams Andre, he hits the leg drop and retains the WWF title. A weird thing about this match as well, Dave Meltzer gave this match a -4.5 star rating. -4.5 stars. Dave, I love you, buddy, but no way in hell, there is no way in hell that was a -4.5 star match. I'm sorry, but that was a very entertaining match, and especially it would have been at the time, considering the build-up, man. Like, if you want to give a match like Jenna Muraska and Charmel -5 stars, fair enough, because that match was just dog shit. It was the epitome of dog shit. But this, -4.5 stars? Really? That may have been at the time, but seriously? You give this match a -4.5 star rating? I don't know. Just a little bit of disagreement with Dave Meltzer there, but very entertaining main event. One of the most entertaining main events in the history of wrestling, and that was the end of the show. My match of the night, come on. Do I even need to explain what my match of the night is? Do I really need to tell you what my match of the night is? How am I going to rate this show? You know what? I'm going to rate this show a 6.5 out of 10. It was a big improvement from WrestleMania 2. There were some matches that I felt like there were too many matches crammed in that really didn't mean anything. Some of the tag team matches didn't mean much. The Coco Beware Butch Reed match, you could have cut that out of the show and not missed a damn thing. But the main event was absolute entertainment personified, and the Intercontinental title match between Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat is one of the greatest matches of all time. So it's not that bad of a show. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you thought of WrestleMania 3, and if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram's at JackamanLol31 if you want to check me out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm out in 3, 2, 1.